And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment with me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for the brand new Tom Cruise, Miles Teller film, Top Gun Maverick. That's right, Top Gun is back in theaters. We have the need for speed. That's right, if you have not seen Top Gun, where have you been watching over the decades, go check out Top Gun. Tom Cruise is one of his most iconic films besides Mission Impossible. And it's been overdue for a sequel for a very long time. Not counting the whole with the pandemic stuff, but still. They finally made it. Now, a lot of people thought that this movie may not happen, or thought this movie a little bit coming out a little bit too late. Personally, I thought it was a little bit too late when this movie came out. But we're in this new era of films where classical movies are getting sequels, and certain actors for those sequels are coming back and being great at it and doing a fine job with the story of the continuation of that character or whatever it is. You know, we're gonna be getting to see that with other films like Halloween, how Jamie Lee Curtis came back to that franchise, how Linda Hamilton came back to Terminator, and even though that movie wasn't like the best, but still seeing these iconic action stars come back to their iconic roles is kind of cool, and Tom Cruise is no exception. And granted, we all know Tom Cruise is still doing his Mission Impossible universe, so it was nice seeing him in this film and come back to playing Maverick again. So let's talk about it. So Top Gun Maverick is basically a continuation of Top Gun, where this time Maverick, he's at the point where he should have retired already. He should have retired, and the Air Force is like, you know what? If you don't want to retire, we got a great opportunity for you to train some new fighter pilots to basically do what you did back in the day, but kind of better in a way, especially with the modern technology today. So at first he's skeptical, so he's not really sure he should do it. But then he starts meeting the recruitment, if you will, of the new, the code name Top Gun, group. So apparently there's a big mission that they have to do, that he needs, the generals and the admirals, I don't know how they call, I think admirals, that's what they call them. They need Maverick's help to basically, hey, you've done this kind of mission before, but this was a little more tricky, but we need to teach you the new guys how to do it. And you see Tom Cruise, he's just, first of all, Tom Cruise continues to prove why he's such a good actor. And the fact that he's the only actor that I know that still has no Oscar on his mantle, which still shocks me. But yeah, he just keeps better and better every time he's just on screen. Even his dramatic roles are still great, for a guy who's always sticking to himself with just the action scenes. Yeah, the guy can act out of nowhere. And you see him kind of struggle here, you see him, he just loves to be a fighter pilot. That's what he dreamt of. That's what he was back in the original. All he cared about was flying. And then when you tell the man, like, hey man, you can't fly anymore, but we need you to teach the new kids, it kind of stings you, So he does it, and he meets the crew, and he starts forming a bond with most of them, especially Miles Teller, which his code name is Rooster, by the way. Which, by the way, I kind of love that they continue the whole, everybody gets their own kind of code names. There was Goose from the original, of course. There was Iceman, played by Val Kilmer, which was great. And but yeah, so anyway, to Tom Cruise in this movie basically teaches the new kids about how to be the best fighter pilots that they can be, so they can go into the dangerous mission and take out, I guess, some nuclear weapons that they have to take out. And that's basically the story. But the story is not just about that. It's basically about, Maverick, living his last glory days as best he can, because he's at that point where he should have been retired or already at a higher ranking than he is, because I think they call him captain in this film. So he should have been like either a general or a major or whatever. I don't know the rankings for the military, so I apologize if you are a military person. I thank you for your service, but I really don't know the rankings. Anyway, so he should have been higher at his rank at that point, but he's not. He loves just being where he is, and he just wants to fly. But the people who are higher than him are like, just teach these new kids, and you see him form the bonds with these characters. And I thought everybody did a really good job, especially Miles Teller. First of all, seeing Miles Teller back in the movie, I can't remember the last movie I saw him in. I mean, maybe it was Fantastic Four. I think that was the last movie I've seen him in. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to what other movie he was in, but still. I mean, he was okay in that film, but I thought he did a really good job of being in this movie. You know, he plays a son of a certain character in this from the previous film. I won't say who it is, but I'll let you figure that out. Codenamed Rooster. So if you want to know if you have any hints of what it might, if I gives you any hints, you know. But anyway, and you just see him form that bond, that friendship with him. You know, at first they have a kind of like a little beef because you know his family and Maverick have history, so I'll just leave it at that. And you know, you see the argument, you see the banter between the two of them, but then as the movie progresses, you see they start getting close and progress as friends. So I thought that was really cool. And okay, so let's talk about the fighter jet stuff. Listen, you gotta watch this movie on the big screen, okay? Honestly, if you feel comfortable going back to the movies, you gotta watch this on the big screen because honestly, seeing those fighter jets in the air made me feel like I was a part of it and I was actually in one of those fighter jets because they felt so realistic. And I think that's what Tom Cruise was going for when he filmed this film, to make it as realistic as possible. I'm pretty sure he flew one of them for real. So if he's any scenes that he's in, I'm pretty sure that was really him doing it. So no surprises there. So, but other than that, I thought this was a great follow-up to the original. Because, you know, when you have a sequel from an original film, but it's like decades later, and then you just try to put like, oh, look at the Easter eggs from the original film. That was here. Remember that poster from the original movie? It's in here. It doesn't do that. And it did a really good job of just being a story, just telling the story of yeah, mentioning certain characters from the original. It's good to see, but you know, it wasn't like all up in our faces like, okay, we get it, this is a Top Gun sequel. No, they just focused on what it was. It was Top Gun sequel, but yet it kind of felt like it could have been its own movie. You know, it could have been like, if you've never seen Top Gun in your life and you wanted to see this film, you won't be super lost because it just has a good story to it, and I appreciated that for what they did, and I thought they did a really good job with it. And I highly recommend checking this film out. Do you need to see the original to understand it? Yes and no, because I feel like if you haven't, like for me, I haven't seen the original Top Gun in years, so I should have watched the original just to remember. But as soon as I got into the theater and I watched the film, I'm like, who's that character again? Oh, related to, okay, now I remember. It went like that for me. So everything kind of came back to my mind. It's like, now I remember who those characters were. Now it makes sense why that person's with that, connected to that person. Who's this person? And yeah. But anyway, everybody in this film did a really good job from obviously Tom Cruise, Miles Teller. I forget the actress who plays the girlfriend. I keep forgetting her name, but she was great too. Small role, but still great for what she was in, what she was given. Obviously, she's the love interest, so it makes sense. But yeah, just seeing if you're going to see this movie just for like big explosions and seeing fighter jets in the air taking out enemies, you might be a little disappointed. But you know what? That's what it is. I mean, it's not exactly like this movie's, oh, it's Top Gun. He has a mission. He's gonna do his thing, and then he's gonna be in a war the whole time. No, it's basically him training new pilots to be who they can be and be better soldiers and in the air. So that's basically what this movie is. But it's a good time. Had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a very well done film. It never felt like it, you know, had to tell us every 5 minutes this was a sequel to the original. You know, it felt like it could be on its own if it wasn't a sequel to Top Gun. You don't feel lost if you've never seen the original. And I thought they did a really good job with it. So I highly recommend checking this movie out, especially in theaters. But if you feel comfortable, like I said, if you feel comfortable going back to the movie theaters, give it a shot. You might actually enjoy it. If you don't, that's cool too. Don't worry about it. No pressure of liking this film or not. If you don't, I personally thought this movie was great. I enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. Is it better than the original? Some parts, but not all. But still, I think like my big negative about this film was I feel like the pacing of the film was a little bit weird. Not that it felt slow or fast. It just felt like at some points it went quick, and then it kind of felt like they were rushing the story, but still doing it in a good pace for us to understand it, but kind of rushing certain things, for certain characters. But I'm like, okay, but to me, I thought the pace of the film felt like really well done without being super draggy, and at least it was able to understand it. So I thought that worked very well. So, but like I said, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Check it out for yourself. If you haven't seen it, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about it. If you've seen it, and you guys looking forward to it. And by the way, what's your favorite Tom Cruise films besides Top Gun or Mission Impossible? Leave me a comment below. Let me know. Thank you very much, and have a good day.